What's going on, people? It is actually Rak-Su here, but today you've got two very special guests. We have Jamal and Miles, who are also Rak-Su. So basically, you have Rak-Su here in the building, and we were all at York Hall last weekend to watch the show. And I think one fight we were all super intrigued by was Armz versus Minkon. So yeah, Miles, you're a heavyweight yourself, so I'm gonna kick it to you. What did you think of that fight?
First off, someone needs to tell Minkon that his barber fucked the back of his head up. I don't know if he forgot to pay him an extra £2.50 to do the back, but he's got like a sideways Brazilian wax on the back of his head. Apart from that, it was a great fight. There's so much hype around Armz. One, because he's obviously Armz, absolutely shredded, absolute beast. But there's also hype because he fights out of shooters, right?
Yeah.
He's part of kind of KSI's camp, so there's a lot of hype around him.
And the Uruguay knockout as well.
The Uruguay knockout. And I think everybody expects Armz to just knock out everybody. Just because he's so ripped, he's so hench. And he's not half bad. It was a great fight. It was very interesting, it was very intriguing, and the ending was even more so.
Jam, obviously you're not a big boxer, but what did you think of...
Man, do a little rubber dope.
What did you think of it, having watched that fight and seeing how their bodies were responding?
Armz needs to lose some weight, bro. It's scary. It's scary that he manages to move that weight the way that he does. But it's very telling that if he doesn't knock somebody out in the first 2 rounds, it's a long day.
Yeah.
By the time you get to round 3, bro, to just do this must just be so much stress. I remember we saw him at your last fight in Newcastle. You're like, all right, cool, yeah, Armz is big. And then you see him and you're like, whoa,
He's an animal, bro.
This guy is gargantuan. So I just think for his own like safety and health and just being able to actually carry on and be somebody that can be big in this world, because I think he has a personality for it. I think he has the following for it, and clearly people will come and watch him just because he's that person. For him to be able to be more in this world and be what he rightfully should be in this world, he needs to lose some weight, man. Because how heavy is Armz, would you say?
108.
Yeah, so I don't think it's just it's the weight, it's the muscle mass and just the amount of lactic acid that's producing and how much oxygen. So really, it's not actually Armz's fault. It's global warming. No, hear me out, right?
Go on, land it.
Let me land.
Because at the moment it's a little shaky. One pilot's fell on the seat next to you.
Okay, cool. So obviously, if you look at the atmosphere,
nice,
right? We've got approximately, I think it's like 28% oxygen is supposed to be in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got trees, which obviously take carbon dioxide out of the air, right? And then obviously, what's it called?
Go on.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, okay.
They do their thing, and then they release oxygen into the atmosphere.
Nice.
So if you were to go back like 2 million years,
okay, we're going back now.
exactly, the level of oxygen in the atmosphere would have been a lot higher than it is now. So Armz is breathing
64
in.
and 36.
No, it might even just like 1 or 2% points, but that's still a lot. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for Armz, he's built his body all about muscle, and he needs a lot of oxygen for it. But because we've chopped down all the trees and we're driving all the cars, there's not the same oxygen in the air. So how is he supposed to fuel that?
Why doesn't he go train up in the mountains?
Go electric.
But that's the problem.
But go electric.
Go train in the mountains.
I don't know how, if you could
because
you want him to become a bionic man.
No. He drives an electric car because clearly the fumes from the
it's the quality of the oxygen in the atmosphere.
Yeah, but
that's the reason.
Qualitatively, if he had driven an electric car, technically the air around him, the force field around him, would have had 1% more oxygen.
I don't know.
I know you could. If you could see it, right? You could see it if there was. You know what I'm saying? Right.
I don't even know if he drives.
You can't fit in a car.
Personally, yeah, if I lived in an environment with a higher oxygen percentage, I'd be a fucking animal, man.
In all honesty, all seriousness, I just feel like him, as you said, losing muscle mass, it would make him more complete. Not to say it like aesthetically, Brad, you've won. Like for real, you've won. Just to actually be who he can be and what he looks like he can be in this world. Lose some muscle, lose some weight. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, so whilst we have Miles here, you obviously have seen Armz fight Minkon. You've seen Chase Demore fight Tempo Arts. Are we going to see you make a Misfits debut, and are you willing to fight at heavyweight? Because there's some big old boys.
I would prefer to fight at heavyweight than Bridgewater Cruiser, personally.
Crazy.
I'm quicker than the heavyweights without a shadow of a doubt. The only risk is if I slip up inside the ring and let myself become lackluster, then I'm obviously lining myself up to be knocked out.
Miles versus Tempo Arts. How does that fight go?
Tempo Arts, I keep him at range. He tries to throw big overhand right. He'll try and slip shot uppercut. Most of the fight, I'll keep him at range. He's going to gas out before me. My cardio is better than 90% of the heavyweights there. Realistically, I'm not going to try and look for the absolute knockout punch. If it comes, then it will happen. But Tempo Arts, I keep him at range. Tap, 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 tap. Straight shot, hopefully lands flush on his chin and knocks him clean out. That's how that one goes.
Miles versus Chase Moore. How does that fight work out?
Miles versus Chase Moore is an absolute dismantling. He gets pieced up. He gets pieced up. Bargain bucket, 16 pieces, pieced up everywhere, left, right, and centre. Decapitated. Guy's a shithouse. He's got nothing about him. I'm not scared of one thing. I'm cautious of Tempo Arts because I know that he can potentially come under with a big over and then slip with a big overhand right. With Chase, the guy's an ogre. He's got nothing about him. He's a big ogre with cockroaches that land on his head. He comes out all guns blazing. He comes out all guns blazing in the first few rounds, gasses himself out by round 3, and I can go to work. Personally, I would say I'd either knock him out round 1 or 2.
Even though he didn't get knocked out by Volkanovski?
Doesn't matter.
Alright.
Doesn't matter.
Miles versus Armz Corleone. How does that fight go?
Armz Corleone, definitely the most cautious of him just because of the sheer power the geezer has.
Yeah.
He's tall. I think he's taller than Tempo Arts as well, slightly taller than Tempo, but he's also a lot stronger. So he can slip under my shots, and he doesn't even need to slip. He can throw left hook, right hook. They're all gonna bang. Southpaw as well. Uppercuts. He likes throwing an uppercut, which I was very, very surprised of actually, because not many novice boxers throw in misfits, especially in the heavyweight division, throw uppercuts. The combo that he threw to knock down Minkon in round 2 was a right uppercut, left hook, wasn't it? And it was tight and it was compact. So definitely the most cautious would be Armz Corleone. But I'd like to get in with him just to say it's one of them things like I've been in with Armz.
And Miles Rak-Su versus Minkon. How did that fight go?
Minkon, he's a big boy. He's quite tall actually. I think he's about my height.
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah.
Yeah, he's quite tall. So he's a big, and he's naturally a big boy. You see, whereas Armz is obviously been to the gym, stacked.
Yeah.
Minkon is actually naturally just heavy. I think that would be a good, exciting fight. It would be a game of chess, I think. Personally, the early rounds anyway would definitely be. He would want to keep me at range. I would want to try and range test him as well.
I ain't even really seen Minkon jab. I'll be real. That guy just scraps.
Yeah, but I think in the first few rounds he was trying to keep Armz at range, wasn't he? So the first few rounds would be obviously working each other out. He's not great. He's a big swinger. The only thing is that he is heavy. He's naturally a more heavier, dense guy than me. That's the only thing that it would drain me. Just if he's got me on the ropes or if in the clinch, leaning on me, it's long. Like,
you gotta knock him out, my boy.
Oh, he's getting knocked out. He's getting knocked out, and then I'll cut the back of his hair off. What's he doing, bro? It's like what is it?
I have no idea. Like a mullet.
It's like a backwards Naruto, bro. It's like a backwards airbender. It's fucking tragic.
Brother, listen, I'm not mentioning anything to do with his hair. I will say this though, in his defence, he does get gal.
With that,
Apparently so.
anyone can get gal if you pay for him.
Wow.
Jesus. Miles Rak-Su, everybody!